This segment of Vernon Speaks Sports was brought to you by 24-hour infrared sauna studio, which we like to call Express Wellness Atlanta. 24-hour full spectrum infrared sauna studio located in Alpharetta, Georgia, providing health and wellness therapy and services. What you can do is go to www.expresswellnessatlanta.com. This place is located on 11770 Haynesbridge Road, Suite 401, room number 7. Don't go to room number 6 because you will not be in the right place. This is located in Alpharetta, Georgia. 30009 is the zip code. Phone number is 470-902-4543. Call or text to book your session today. This is a great service, man. If you need a little bit of relaxation, go and hang out over there at the 24-hour infrared sauna studio at Express Wellness of Atlanta. War Eagle. What's going on, sports fans? We're in the Deep South where college football is king and the SEC is the best conference. The SEC West is the best sub-conference. Once again, it's K-Stu the GOAT for Vernon Speaks Sports. We're talking about Auburn football. Now, as we go into spring practice, A-Day game is about a week away. We got a couple of narratives that have been surfacing over the course of the spring football. Now, the spring football training has been largely shielded by the fact that the Auburn Tigers basketball team has made it, obviously, to the Final Four. So that has been somewhat the focal point throughout the course of spring practice, and probably for good reason. You know, when we think about Gus Malzahn being on the hot seat, not, particularly being a crowd favorite among, the Auburn fan base as a whole, this probably was a good thing for Gus Malzahn. Once again, I want to give a shout out to my fearless and true gang, man. I need you all to really get into this comment section, because until we can get the live chats going, we got to get a lot of interaction going in the live chats. So when we look at the spring football for Auburn Tigers, a lot of great narratives have been going on, and a few things that I've even picked up on myself. Of course, we can't discount, the quarterback battle going into a very high consequence game against the Oregon Ducks. The Oregon Ducks are projected, at least in early outlets, to be the Pac-12 champions. Now, that's up for debate. That's actually for a whole nother video for some of my Oregon subscribers out there. But anyway, Oregon, for all intents and purposes, for good reason, have the opportunity to compete highly for a Pac-12 championship, returning a possible, I don't think he'll win the Heisman, but a possible Heisman candidate in Justin Herbert, a very good navigator of the football field. I like the way he vertically throws the ball downfield. He definitely takes command of the Oregon's offense. And if you think about him as a high school recruit, was considered a 3-star, but I think that's just kind of lazy on the part of sports outlets. They just didn't want to come up to Eugene and check this guy out and give a full depiction of what he had to offer. This guy's at least a middle to high end 4-star recruit when you look at him on film. But not to get off track and start talking about Oregon, we're going back to spring football. Now, there are a lot of narratives that, have taken place. Obviously, you have a very nice quarterback battle with 4 talented guys who have, who, given variations of the Gus Malzahn offense, could be very successful. Of course, we know this thing is going to come down to who is the guy that can accentuate the best possibility of the skill positions around him, as well as take command of the totality of the offense. Now, right now, when you think about this thing, the Gus Malzahn troop is really leaning towards, singing the praises of Joey Gatewood. Joey Gatewood has the size, he has he doesn't necessarily have the experience, but he has the size and he has the capability to potentially, kind of deal with the rigors of the SEC, because, with run pass option, he's going to be asked to run the ball more. I think he's a guy who wants to run the ball, unlike Jarrett Stidham. He wants to be a part of the run pass option, because before it was a pass option, because the fake, to the running back was just not something that got the defense off balance because they knew Jarrett Stidham did not have the tendency of running the football. So that wasn't, part of the option. So as we move forward, we at least are rest assured that the run pass option will be in full gear. Gus Malzahn over the years has been highly productive with this offense, especially when he has a quarterback that has the threat to run. You're talking about during these times, you're talking about a national championship when he was offensive coordinator back in 2010. You're talking about highly productive in 2009 as an offensive coordinator. You also fast forward to head coaching at Auburn, highly productive in 2013 with 2,000-yard rushers and also an SEC championship win and also a national championship appearance, seconds away from winning the national championship as a play caller. So big shout out to Gus Malzahn. That is something that he's incredible at, is running the offense. And then you look in 2015, the epic Iron Bowl, not 2015, 2014, the epic Iron Bowl production where you have well over over 600 yards of production against a very stout defense in Alabama. So when you look at that, it gives you all the promise in the world that Auburn will be highly productive offensively this year with Gus Malzahn as the play caller. And also you look at with all of the skill positions that, are returning, you have to think that Auburn will be in a situation where, you will have a 1,000-yard rusher this year, maybe a 1,000-yard rusher along with, say, 600 yards out of the quarterback. And then with the running back by committee, you're looking at 400 yards from a guy here, say Shaun Shivers, say Mark Anthony Richards. We're going to get to that in a second because there's a lot of guys who are not participating in spring practice right now because they will not enroll until this fall. Among the early enrollees, you look at Owen Pappoe, very talented linebacker out of Grayson, Georgia. A lot of rants and raves over him. Bo Nix obviously vying for this quarterback position. I think he has all the ability in the world. I think what's going to cancel him maybe is the fact that he's just not experienced at this point. I think if you given experience, given a little bit of an under his belt, this may have even been taken hands down by Bo Nix. And then you look at Zion Puckett, very talented safety out of Spalding High School in Griffin, Georgia, very somewhat local, is not that far from Auburn. And then you look at Derek Hall. I really like what I saw on film on Derek Hall, who is already there. Cameron Kelly decides to transfer to North Carolina to be a little bit closer to home. DJ Williams has been turning heads in practice so far. He's looking to be a productive guy and definitely took advantage of the early enrollee process. I think Kobe Wooten, who out of Lawrenceville, Georgia, looking at that defensive end spot, possibly that what we call the buck spot at Auburn, looking at that spot of high-end 4-star recruit out of Archer High School. And, of course, you got Tyler Fromm and Luke Deal, who, kind of sort of will supplement somewhat of what Sal Cannella wants to do for the Auburn Tigers. But then when you look at the fact that here in the spring practice, there's a lot of guys that I think are going to be productive down the stretch, but it's just not on campus right now. And a couple of guys that I really want to mention is Charles Moore. I'm really big on Charles Moore. Very athletic and can possibly play multiple spots on the field. Looking at him on film, he could possibly be, that buck linebacker. Also, when you talk about the Sam, I don't think he has, it's not that he doesn't have what it takes, but we don't need him in that spot. I don't see him being a Mike linebacker. So just for terminology purposes, the Mike linebacker is what we consider the middle linebacker. And then you have the Sam linebacker, who kind of covers the strong side where you start to have the stacks and then you have the extra tight end and all that other stuff. And then you have the will linebacker, who is the weak side linebacker, which is what I think a guy like, say, Owen Pappoe will probably cover that, because when you look at the weak side, you have to be able to cover more ground because a lot of the misdirections and a lot of the routes that come across field, you have to be able to cover ground in that regard. So when we look at that, I don't think Charles Moore will be that guy, but he definitely adds some versatility. He's very big, 6'4", 268 pounds. I think he will be huge. And also coming in the fall as well as a high-end 4-star recruit in Mark Anthony Richards. Probably looking at him to max out the 4 games that he's allowed before he redshirts. And then that's when you start to kind of do the Sean Shivers thing. Are we going to kind of use him down the stretch, or are we going to kind of pull the plug on him and redshirt him until next year? Jaron Handy, very talented defensive end, will be coming this fall. But most important, most of interest, we look at the linemen, offensive linemen, Keandre Jones, a high-end 4-star recruit out of Hogansville, Georgia, right in between Atlanta and LaGrange. That's kind of where that guy is from. And, you kind of look to him to see if he's going to play a productive role as well. And then also Justin Osborne, a 3-star recruit out of IMG Academy out of Bradenton, Florida. You want to see if he's going to be productive as well. Kamar Bell, big guy, 6'3", 320 pounds out of Colquitt County High School, traditionally a powerhouse in Georgia, out of Moultrie, Georgia. Big shout out to the Colquitt County Packers down there in Moultrie, Georgia. Also, we look at Cameron Brown, who is the brother of Derek Brown, who, I think, we're looking at a defensive lineman down the stretch, maybe a defensive end, because, I think Auburn is getting away from the feel-good stories at linebacker. Really want a lot more athleticism, really want a lot more range, and I just don't think Cameron Brown will be able to provide that. But he actually enrolls this fall as well. That's one of the biggest stories going into this particular spring practice, is that a lot of guys who I think will be productive are just not on campus right now. And then you talk about, the running back position with Boobie Whitlow leading the charge there. And also, the defensive line obviously have a lot coming back. The secondary, we're going to do this in another video. The secondary definitely have a lot of production coming back as well. And like I said before, we're just hours away from the Final Four appearance of the men's basketball for Auburn Tigers, first Final Four appearance of any major college team out of Alabama. And we wish the Auburn Tigers basketball team the best of luck. And once again, it's K-Stu the GOAT. Like, comment, and subscribe. Definitely comment, because we want to get this interaction going in the comment section for the fearless and true gang. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. War Eagle.